Hi, everybody. This is MoveEasy Yoga with Via. Kathy is our student model. And you know, most of you know, Kathy teaches this class on Saturday. Today is March 1st.
Yeah.
New month. Marching along 2022. We're going to start in the ordinary fashion. Vagus, no, not vagus nerve. We'll do that next. Static reset. This is one of the names for this. Your legs are up on a chair. I like this one. I think this is a better than legs up the wall. Just for your information. Legs on a block, on a box or a sofa or a chair. And we're just going to stay here, watch the breath, or try to just bring your whole being into the room. And if you lose it, if you start thinking or overthinking, just bring your attention back. Don't beat yourself up. Just bring yourself back to the breath and to the practice. Okay. Stay there. And just move your head from side to side. And then come back to center. Vagus nerve reset. Don't move anything but your eyeballs. Move your eyeballs from to the right and wait for a sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. Come back to center. And look, eyeballs to the left, nothing else moves. Wait for a sigh, swallow, yawn, or gulp. And then come back to center again and repeat this sequence 2 more reps, right and left, without my cueing. I'm going to go get a pen. And whenever you're ready, come back to center. Bring your head back to center for head ramping. We're going to do head ramping plus. So you can put anything under your head that you want. And you can put your arms out in a T by your hips or in a cactus pose. And then press the occipital ridge, the back of the base of the skull, into the floor. The chin drops a little. Hold. And then release. And do that 5 more times at your own pace. And when you're finished, let's stay here for breath work. What I'd like you to do is take your strap. I guess I should have said have your strap nearby. Take your strap and wrap it around your rib cage. Your head can be resting on anything. Your strap goes around your body underneath you, but you're gonna have to lift up your hips, I guess, for that. And then cinch it. So cinch it so that this is just so you can feel the expansion of the rib cage during rib cage breathing. So cinch it snug, cinch it snug. And then I want you to just take 5 breaths of the rib cage. You could also put your hands on the strap, and this is another way to feel that expansion. But when you have the strap, you'll feel the expansion at the front and back of the rib cage. So just take 5. Once you're set up, take 5 nice breaths. at the rib cage. Feel the expansion on the inhale, the expansion of the rib cage. And then feel the retreat where the rib cage gets smaller. It doesn't get smaller or larger, but the rib cage expands and then shrinks. And when you're finished, let's do a come off of the chair or the sofa or the whatever you're on with your bent knees, and push that away or come away from that. And we're going to do two bridge hypopressives. So you'll remove your strap. You could leave your strap on if you want. You'll if you practice breathing even in an ordinary way with a strap around your chest, you'll just start to become more aware of your breath. So, but the heels, remember you're on your knee, on your supine, your knees are bent, your heels are on the floor, your toes are up toward the ceiling, dorsiflexion of the ankle. And we're going to take 3 breaths. And then at the end of the 3rd breath, Kathy, can you show what we're getting coming towards the end of the 3rd breath? You're going to hold your breath out, no breath, and lift your hips and bring your arms overhead. And then I'll count. And then at the end of the count, or whenever you need to come down, you'll come down hips first, and then hands, hips first, and then hands. Okay. 2 bridge hypopressives. Inhale, 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale. So remember your hands are up. Oh no, they aren't up. They're not up. Watching Parvin, but you don't have to have your hands up. They're on the floor. And inhale. Sorry for the delay here. Exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And the 3rd breath, make sure it's a full one and it's all the way out. All the way out, exhale. Hold your breath out, no breath. Lift your hips. Bring your arms overhead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Inhale, drop your hips. And exhale, drop your arms. If you can't do the lift of the hips, you could just do the classic one, which Kathy is just demonstrating, that arm position. And in fact, my theory, I think I was telling Kathy, is that actually, even though there are 23 official hypopressive positions, body positions, and then this very similar, very exact same breath work. I think you could do it. I could think you could do what would be called a hypopressive, where you're holding your breath out, no breath, and count to 15. Anywhere you could do it seated. You're in the doctor's office waiting for something. Anyway, I think it's available in very broadly to do, and it has the same impact. Core work works on incontinence, etc. Okay, one more bridge. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. All the way out. And now lift your hips. arms overhead. No breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Good. Come on down. Let's stay here. Well, stay somewhere near a wall with a strap. We're going to do the leg stretch series, 1, 2, 3, before we do the side lying series. So you're going to want to put your hands, no, not your hands, your feet on the wall. Lie down on your back. I'm going to try to do this with you. And then take your left leg and put it on the wall, the bottom of the foot on the wall, the heel in the corner between the wall and the mat. The right leg is up towards the wall, or up towards the ceiling with a strap. This is leg strap number 1. And you're just going to stay here for 40 seconds. Maybe a few more minutes, a few more seconds. Stay here. You may want to have something under your head. Your strap, you're holding onto your straps, and you may want to press the foot into the wall, the left foot into the wall, and then maybe pull the right leg with your strap, pull it a little forward towards you. I'm putting my head on a thin brick. This is a hamstring release. It's a bone building pose. Building bone in the hip and femur. Okay, now put your strap and we're going to go out to the right, out to the outside. So you're going to put your strap in your right hand. Keep the left foot on the floor, on the wall and the floor, and then bring your leg out as far as you can go comfortably without using your other hip, without lifting your other hip. And it could be a lot smaller than what Kathy's doing. Mine is a lot smaller. And just staying here until you hear the timer. I've actually toned down the timer. Hopefully you won't hear as much of it. Breathe, be aware of your breath. Be aware of what's happening here. It's an external rotation of the head of the femur in the acetabulum. You don't need to know all those words for this pose to be effective. Seem to get it off. Come back up, switch hands. The strap is in the left hand. This time you're going to take your left foot and point it along the wall. So this is really a switch. So that you have stacked hips. The left foot is on the wall, along the wall, and then you take your right leg across your body. And with the strap, you may touch the floor. Maybe you'll have put a brick there and touch the brick. You can take your right arm out in a T to balance this movement. Nice big old stretch. Leg stretch 3. Come on back, switch legs. leg stretch 1 on the left side. Strap around your left foot, which is up toward the ceiling. The right foot is pressing into the wall. It's a closed chain exercise. And all you're doing, your straps are in either hand, pressing your right foot on the wall. Hold and stretch, hold and breathe. Your leg may not be totally straight. Your knee could be a little bent. If this is especially if your hamstring is tight. Try to feel the sensation of walking on the wall with your right, standing on the wall with your right foot. Okay, leg stretch number 2. Put your strap in your left hand and both straps, and then take your leg out, left leg out to the left as far as you can go without lifting the other hip. Press your right foot into the floor to help keep structure and stabilize the position. And breathe. And be aware of the movement and the breath. The union of the mind, body, and of the spirit. Come on back. And come on up. Bring the leg up. Put the strap in the right hand. And then you're going to switch to a stacked hip sideline position. So the leg comes over and across with the help of your strap. The bottom foot, the foot on the wall, it turns and the toes are running, your foot is running parallel along the floor. Your hips are stacked. And maybe your left foot is resting on the floor, but maybe it's resting on a brick. And come on back, all the way back. And now we'll do the side lying series. So lie on your side, your head is on a brick. Depending, the size of the brick is up to you. You want to leave enough room in front of you. Let me see if I can, enough room in front of you so that you can put your arm out in front of you, your top arm. So the first 3 moves, you're stacking your knees, your heels, your hips, your shoulders. This first move is called, what's it called? Is called Protraction, Retraction of the Scapula. It's a scapular movement only. So you're going to move your scapula away from the spine, and the arm comes forward, or as you can get it. And then you come back. It's scapular retraction. Come back. The arm comes back. And let's do this 5 more times. Forward. Scapula away from the spine, protraction, scapula toward the spine, retraction. Slow with awareness and with breath. And do one more. And the next movement, you can rest with your hand on your hip for a minute, just to before you. For some people, for me, this is a quite a strenuous exercise. So the next one is, gosh, I've forgotten. It's called external rotation or abduction. External abduction. So you just lift your hand and take it up to the ceiling and bring it back down. And it goes up and down and up and down. Keep going, about 3 more. This is called lateral abduction adduction, or sunrise sunset, commonly known as sunrise sunset. And this is an arm bone movement. It's not so much scapular. And now, after you finish that last one, the next one is internal and external rotation at the arm, at the head of the arm bone. So I like to put my bottom hand on that bony area that hopefully represents the head of the arm bone. And then make a soft fist so that you're not using your wrist to make this movement. You're using the head of the arm bone. Head of the humerus. And you go in as far as you can, forward, and then you go out. So when you're going in, it's an internal rotation. And when you're going out, back, it's an external rotation. And if you like practicing this, which it's a really good movement to practice, just so you know, it doesn't have to look like this. You could have your arm at almost any angle and still do internal, external rotation at the head of the arm bone and still benefit. So Kathy's showing it at another angle, which is a good idea. Thank you, Kathy. And then go ahead and rest your arm, because you've done 3. So if you can remember those as a little triplet, maybe it'll help your practice. The next thing we're going to do is snow angels. And this one, it's 2 actually different degrees of external rotation of the arm. So the first thing you're going to do is take your externally rotate so your palm is toward the ceiling, and then bring your arm up by your ear all the way. By that time, it's facing the floor. Change your external rotation a little bit so the palm is facing forward, and then bring it back down to the hip. That's the move. It's technical because there's two different internal or external positions you're taking. And come on back and do 4 more of those. Remember that you start with an extremely externally rotated position, and then the next position is a little bit less rotated, but it's still an external rotation. And then when you're done with that, rest your arm on your hip, your hand on your hip, your arm on your torso. And we'll start shoulder circles. Well, let's start backwards. Just bring your arm back behind you and then up by your ear and then overhead, in front of you, back to your hip. Slow with awareness. This is one of the best, I think, overall exercises for the arm bone, for the arm, the shoulder, this part of the shoulder. When you're finished with 6, I lost track, but when you're finished, start the other direction, do 6 or so. Okay, the last one we're going to do here in this triplet is flying pizza. Bend your elbow, keep your elbow tucked in, and then bring your arm up toward the ceiling as you rotate it. So the palm is facing the ear by the time you arrive. And then just come back down. And up you go. You should feel this in the back of your shoulder, upper back, rotator cuff. If you don't feel that, try to stack your shoulders and your torso and everything up a little better and see if you can find it. And rest. That's the end of the shoulders. So 6 moves for the shoulders. Now 3 moves for the legs and hips. Extend your right top leg. You can extend both legs if you want, but or the bottom knee can be bent. And then droop your toes on the top leg and then bring it up and then back and up and then back. And if you go too high, you'll start to feel this is an adductor, the sides of the muscles on the sides of the thighs are working. If you start feeling like a groin muscle is working, you've lifted too high. You've gone into a hip rotation, a hip rotator muscle instead. These are adductors and abductors. And then when you're finished, and I lost track, but I know you're almost finished. Oops, this is one more. Then you're going to take your leg straight forward, hip flexion, and straight back, hip extension. And when you're in the back, you can squeeze your glute and release it. And then you can also do footwork by flexing when you're forward, flexing your toes, dorsiflexion, and then plantar flexion when you're going backwards. Squeeze your butt. And then come on back, forward flexion. So nothing moves. This should all be movement in the hip socket or the acetabulum. You shouldn't be swinging your torso, for instance. Keep it isolated. Keep it small in that way. Next, bend your knees. Clams, traditional clams, just keep your heels together and lift your knee, a top knee away from you. You should feel this in the hip and the outside of the thigh, actually, too, the leg. When you're done with 6, let's add resistance. You may want to pull your knees a little closer to you so you can put your hand on your knees. And that's the resistance point. When the knee comes up, the top knee, you're resisting. And then when it's coming down, the knee is trying to stay up and the hand pushes it down. So you should feel even more work in the glutes with this one. This should feel a little bit more like, oh, I just advanced. I just progressed to this level, the new level. Okay. That's it. We're going to do the whole thing on the other side. Flip over. Scapular protraction, retraction. 6 times. Remember, this is all in the scapula, although the arm moves forward with protraction of the scapula and comes back with retraction. But it's not an arm movement, it's a scapular movement. When you're finished, rest a minute, hand on the hips. And now bring your arm back out in front of you. Sunrise, sunset, arm comes up toward the ceiling. And then it comes down to a parallel to the floor. You're side lying with your hips stacked, knees stacked, shoulders stacked, ankles stacked. Rest when you're finished with the set. Next, shoulder circle. No, let's see. That's in the next set. Sorry. Internal, external rotation. Bring your arm up to the ceiling. You may want to put your bottom hand on the front of the arm bone. Make a soft fist. And then internally rotate and externally rotate. And rest. That was the first triplet, shoulder triplet. Next, another shoulder triplet, starting with snow angels. Go ahead, your arm is at your side, and then just open it up in an extreme external rotation. Palm is facing the ceiling as much as you can get it there, and then bring your arm up. This is an overhead arm movement. Up towards the ear as far as you can go. And then from here, just change the direction of your arm a little bit and come back down. It's still externally rotated. And then extreme external rotation and arm up. Change the rotation a little so the palm is forward and then come on back. Do 4 of these. Feeling grateful for your range of motion here, whatever it is. Come on back. And again, did we finish up? Okay, I lost track there, but now we're done. What?
Shoulder
Shoulder circle. Now we're done with that. Now we're going to go to shoulder circles. So just start going backward, your arm backwards. So remember, you're not moving the torso or the hips or even the shoulders. It's just the arm moving in the socket, which is called the glenohumeral joint. And reverse. I love the magic that happens here because you have to actually change the direction of your arm in order to do this. You have to bypass the acromion. But I don't have to tell you that. The arm just does it. Finish up. Come into the bent elbow position for flying pizza. And then bring your arm up. And while you bring it up, rotate the forearm. And then come back down. Rotate the forearm, bring the hand up. The palm should be facing your ear by the time you get to the top. Okay, let's move to the triplets for the legs. So you can keep your bottom knee slightly bent, straighten your top knee, droop your toes, and lift. If you droop your toes, if you remember to droop your toes, it actually increases the work along the side of the leg. Maybe you'll even feel the increase. And now leg extension, flexion extension. So dorsiflex the toes and bring your foot forward, your leg forward, and then plantar flex the toes, bring back and squeeze the glutes at the back extension. And now forward flexion and backward extension. Forward flexion And back extension, squeeze your glutes. And again. When you're finished, bend your knees. Keep your ankles and heels together, and then lift your top knee. Clams. This is adductor, abductor of the hip. And bring your knees a little closer to your chest so you can put your hand on your knee, your top hand on the top knee, and create some resistance here. So now when you bring your leg up in clams, you resist it with the hand. And when the leg comes back down, the leg resists the downward movement and the hand forces it. You should feel more work on the outside of the leg. Okay, we're finished with all of that. Lie on your back. We're just going to do some transitional core work to transitioning to the Yoga Nidra. Kathy probably does a better job of this than I do. The basic work is bring your legs up into tabletop and then straighten them and hover them along the floor. But if you can't do that, you can do one leg at a time. What's the other one you say, Kathy?
Just this.
Just that. Okay. So just know that there's alternatives. Could be tough for some people. So I'm going to do the regular, and so Kathy can do the regular too. Unless people need intervention, let us know. Straighten it up. So we're going to do 10, and then we're going to do 10 more. Rest and 10 more. So straighten your legs. And then bring them back up to bent knee position, tabletop. Number 2. Feel the core work here. And now when you're done, rest. Drop your feet, keep your knees together, and spread your legs. This is, I think maybe
One more.
I'd do one more. Okay. I'm way ahead of you, which I wasn't counting right.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, everyone's probably counting by themselves anyway. So knees together and spread your legs. This is really nice. It releases the psoas. I should have told Caitlin that she has something in her groin, some tightness in her groin that might be psoas. Anyway, Caitlin couldn't come today. She had her doctor's appointment. Carol is going to go to France. We're not going to see her for, 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Who knows? Maybe she'll figure out the time zone and join us for one of the classes. Come back, do one more. One more set, 10. I'll let Kathy count. I'm obviously a poor counter. If you see Kathy stop, we're done. If
I could go on forever.
yeah, no, except beware, Kathy loves this pose. She might take you to 20.
Five, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one.
Oh, good. She took over. That's good. Okay. Now, while you're, come down, put your foot, not just do windshield wipers, just to release your hips a little bit from that, because you were working hard. And then after you're done with that, find your place on the floor. You could have your legs back up on a box. You could just have your legs extended. You could have your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Whatever your position, I'm going to guide you through a Yoga Nidra. The goal of Yoga Nidra is, and maybe you can do this already for yourself if you've done it enough times with us, is that you could actually do your own travel through those points by yourself. But you're going to do it with me now, starting with the breath and breathing in and out and observing your abdomen as it rises and falls. And now bring your awareness and your attention to the center of your eyebrows, center of your throat, right shoulder, elbow, wrist, right thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, right wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, left shoulder, elbow, wrist, left thumb, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, fifth finger, left wrist, elbow, shoulder, center of your throat, spiritual heart center, right side of your chest, heart center, left side of your chest, heart center, navel center, center of your pelvis, right hip, knee, ankle, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, right ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, left hip, knee, ankle, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, left ankle, knee, hip, center of your pelvis, navel center, heart center, center of your throat, center of your eyebrows. This completes our 61-point guided Yoga Nidra meditation. Go ahead and start wiggling. Start to notice your body. Extend your legs, bring your arms overhead, wiggle and stretch, stretch and stretch and stretch right and left and the whole body, and try to create a little more space between your pelvis and your rib cage. And wiggle your fingers and your toes and circle your ankles and your wrists in one direction and then the other. Hug your right knee to your chest. Squeeze it, give it a hug. And hug your left knee to your chest. And then Hug both knees to your chest. And rock from side to side. And whenever you're ready, roll to all over to one side with your putting your bottom arm as a pillow on the floor and stay here for just a minute and thank yourself for coming to class today and thank your body and your cells for joining you in this adventure, movement adventure. And then bring yourself up to a comfortable seated position. I'm going to remove the spotlight. I'm going to put myself on gallery view. You may want to do the same. Bring your hands together to your heart. Press your hands strongly together, firmly. See if you can find some of the scapula work we did, so upper back work we did. Press, press, press. And then just let that go and soften your prayer pose. Lift your occipital ridge away from your shoulders so that you can roll forward, nod forward. The skull rolling over the top of the cervical spine. Don't round your cervical spine. Straighten that. Keep that straight. Nodding, bowing, noticing that each of us is a light. And then noticing that we're all one light. And we'll close the class by saying to each other, Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the recording button.